And after the vegan dish, we'll now make a vegetarian one. This time I decided to make ravioli filled with wild mushrooms and cream cheese. I already kneaded the dough in advance. If you need the dough recipe, you can check the previous masterclass sponsored by the Fondation. Egg pasta, or if you need it, you can also use egg-free pasta. Now while the dough rests here a bit, it needs to relax so we can roll it out more easily. Then we'll prepare the filling for the ravioli. I've set a pan here to heat up. We need 1/4 of a red onion, we don't need much. The pan has heated, the onion is chopped, we'll add a little oil. We add the red onion right away. Be careful not to burn the onion, just let it start to sauté. We add the mushrooms. I have frozen mushrooms here and I won't pour off this liquid because it holds all the mushroom flavors. I want them to stay in our pan. We'll add a little seasoning. Now we'll simmer this for about 5 minutes so all the liquid reduces. And then we'll chop our mushrooms and onions. Now we'll add 1/2 tablespoon of butter. It will give a nice milky flavor that will come through in our filling. Now, which filling will you use for your stuffing? We can just use these mushrooms as they are. We can go for a version that's a combination of some cream, some sour cream, and some cheese. Mozzarella or some ricotta, whatever suits you. Now we have 2 options. The less common option is to leave slightly larger pieces and use them to fill the ravioli. I sometimes like that combination. But the most common approach in catering is to chop this finely. We can do that on a cutting board or in a blender. And then make a cream that we'll use for the filling. Our mushrooms have cooled. My colleague the cameraman, Marco, asked me, he said it would be better to show you both options. So one will be sliced on the bias, and then we'll make a cream here with the immersion blender. Alright, we'll first slice one part on the bias. So, classic slicing. Now you decide how coarse or fine the pieces of the ingredient will be. In this case, these forest mushrooms, the longer you chop, the finer it will be. But I don't want it completely fine, I want these small pieces. We've chopped the mushrooms, and this will be the filling for 2 to 3 ravioli. We'll make 2 to 3 ravioli with these chunky mushrooms, and we'll make 2 to 3 ravioli with this mushroom cream. Here, so you can see how that's done. I'll add 1/2 tablespoon of cream. You can add cream cheese or whatever you like. Just on the tip of the spoon. Just a little to boost that milky texture. And now we'll just puree it with an immersion blender. The immersion blender will do its job, all the flavors will come together, and we'll get the texture we want. And now we'll start preparing the ravioli. We can make ravioli, tortellini, we can make whatever we want. I've decided on ravioli. The dough has softened, it sat for a bit. It rested about half an hour, 40 minutes, and now it'll be much easier to handle. Here you can see how much softer it is. The thickness should be a couple of millimeters, 1 or 2. It's best if the pasta is rolled out evenly, so it's the same thickness all around. But if it's not perfectly identical, that's not a big mistake or problem. We've reached a thickness that works for us. We lift it, shake off the excess flour, like this. We shake off a little. And now we'll cut the strips to make filling and handling easier. And we'll, of course, reshape those end pieces and use them again. Depending on whether you want larger ravioli or smaller ones, or more small pieces per serving versus 2 or 3 larger pieces. So depending on that you'll shape your strips and, so to speak, determine the ravioli size. These will be a bit larger, I'll go with that option. Since we have 2 strips and 2 fillings, I'll make 2 different combinations now. Just so you have an idea which is which, and so you can see both methods of preparation. To make the dough stick, We'll just brush it lightly with plain water, if you like. You can use egg, but plain water will also hold them together. And just press firmly to push out as much air as possible. Okay, press so it seals, and now we form the shape again. All of this that we cut off is, of course, not thrown away, it's kneaded again and used to make new ravioli. Here, we have beautiful ravioli. Now I'll show you smaller ravioli that are folded over. So, both versions are correct. You just decide which one is easier for you to make. Now wet it a little so it seals, just like the ones we made earlier, a little water. And now we press again to push out the air. And now we cut them. Our ravioli are done, they are ready to be cooked. The water is boiling. We salted it since this is fresh pasta. They will be ready in just 1 minute. There, add it all in. I have less water here because I'm cooking a smaller amount. If you're cooking a larger amount, of course you'll need more water. As I said, it only takes 1 minute for this to cook. Then we'll just finish it in butter, you can use a sauce if you want. Lightly sauté to warm it up, and then we can proceed to serving our ravioli. We take out our ravioli so the butter can start to melt. So, our ravioli are ready. I've only shown 2 kinds so far. So you have an idea of how you can prepare this, in what way. This is a wonderful vegetarian dish. Now you can play around here with a combination of sauces. You can sprinkle some microgreens, you're experimenting and creating, in whatever way suits you at that moment. And we can add this filling we add into the center like this. After this minimalist decoration, because I want them to stand out, just the ravioli and the flavor of the ravioli. We'll leave these mushrooms here, and here we'll add more, a hint of freshly grated Parmesan. Parmesan will additionally give that sharp, milky flavor, additional aroma to our dish. And here we have a superb vegetarian dish. You can prepare it one way or another, or create your own recipes. You choose, but what we wanted to show now, is that even from vegan and vegetarian dishes, you can make truly top quality specialties. Enjoy!